3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome everyone to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. So this is the podcast where my co-host and I listen to all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts, talking so fast, from the previous week. And then we get together at a podcast host. Today we are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park. Thank you for being such gracious podcast hosts. Now, we hope when we give our version of the truth of those podcasts, we hope there aren't too many consequences from the host of the other podcast. We're on, week 3 now?
Yeah, we're doing pretty well.
Without any podsequences. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, good on us. Or maybe we're just not doing it right.
That's true. We might not be doing it right. We might need to try harder.
Yeah. I don't know. Could be one or the other. My name is Marco. I am a taproom manager here locally. I also used to brew the beers. And that voice you heard, that voice belongs to the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I am Julia, and yes, I am the best co-host in Podcastlandia. I am the top YouTube short video guest for other Cincinnati craft beer podcasts, and I mean, what can I say? I'm pretty damn great.
Yeah, I agree completely. And also, thank you to everybody out there. If you've been listening to us for a while, I truly appreciate your listenership. If you're new, stick with us. Listen to the one before. Listen to the next one that comes out. You'll get it. Believe me, you will. And if not, at least we get a few clicks from you. And thank you to all of you listening, whether it be for a long time or for the first time, for making us the #1 craft beer podcast that talks about Cincinnati craft beer podcasts. So it's good to be #1.
It's true, and I want to give a special shout out to Greg and his wife.
Yeah.
Longtime listeners, and I got the chance to meet them on Saturday. Absolutely wonderful, amazing people. I had such a good time when I got to Humble Monk, where his wife had a pop-up for her boutique, and I'm going to absolutely shout them out. The Secret Sister Boutique, which the story behind the name is absolutely amazing. It's like high-end, like thrift items, but Josh and I found some great presents that we're going to give for ridiculously reasonable prices.
That's awesome.
So if you, I believe they are in, I just completely blanked, and that's terrible.
Is it downtown?
It technically kind of downtown. I believe it's in the Burlington, Kentucky area. I almost said Batavia, and I'm like, that's nowhere. Northern Kentucky. Just say Northern Kentucky. So somewhere that you would have no idea where it is. But if you ever see them, definitely check out Secret Sister Boutique. They are at Secret Sister Boutique on Instagram and Facebook. But they are wonderful, wonderful people. Thank you for listening to our show and for submitting calendar events happening at some of the local breweries that we didn't know about. We are here for all of our listeners, and so if there is anything that we can do better, let us know, and we are more than happy to
and we'll give you all that information on how to let us know at the end of the pod.
True that. You know what, Marco?
What's that, Julia?
This is a craft beer podcast.
It is.
It would not be a good craft beer podcast. It would not be the #1 craft beer podcast about craft beer podcasts,
right,
if we weren't drinking craft beer.
Yeah.
So your glass is actually about half empty, so we may have to get you a refill before we even get started. What are you currently drinking?
I am drinking Radeberger Pils.
Not Rathaus Pils, but a different one.
Right, a different Pilsner.
All right.
From Germany.
Which, tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well. Very nice. And I'm going to have Masthead Brewing's Single Origin Coffee Stout, the Espresso variant.
Okay.
I've had the non-espresso one
say,
before,
yeah,
but not the espresso. So I saw that they had a can of this in the cooler and went, yes,
have you
that
ever
is
had
for me.
an espresso machine? Mm-mm. No?
I've watched them be used, but I've never messed with one on my own.
Rachel and I had
one. They seem a little intimidating.
Also as a wedding gift. But before us having one as a wedding gift, I was at a friend of mine's best friend growing up. Went to his house. He's like, "You want a cup of coffee?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll take a cup of coffee." And he gives me this like little
just like
tiny
a shot. Yeah,
cup.
yeah.
I'm like, "This shit is this?" I'm like, "I'm an adult, man. Give me a full." He's like, "Just drink it." And first time I'd ever had espresso.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes later, I thought my heart was going to pop out of my chest.
There you go.
So.
Did you ever do it again?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
well,
got to
build up that tolerance.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. Well, it is bumping here at Higher Gravity Summit Park. It is incredibly full. It's a beautiful day outside.
They all must have known we were going to be here.
They wanted to be part of the experience.
Yeah.
And we appreciate them for giving us some fantastic background noise so it doesn't sound like we are recording in the back of a empty closet or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, podcasts.
Anyway.
We have two.
Yes, we do.
We have two podcasts. We have the Cincinnati Brewcast.
Cheers. We cheers when we mispronounce that. Julia's taking a big swig right there. Probably a 2-ounce gulp if I had to.
I would believe that was, if not two, just shy of. Yeah. And Marco just did his, and then we also have. I don't know if I want to call it shift beers, because boy oh boy, that episode was something else.
That was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Hell of a lot of fun. What do you say we wrap up with that one? Because,
they went on a lot of rancid rabbit holes.
Absolutely, they did. Let's see, but Cincy Brewcast, Season 3, Episode 38, When a Brewery Closes for Good. This was with Jason Cerniak from Queen City Brewing Company of Cincinnati in the greater Cincinnati area of Queen City and Blue Ash. And it was kind of a weird episode to listen to.
It was.
If people don't know, if they're not familiar, Queen City Brewing closed in 2019. They were open about 4 years.
I believe they said they opened in 2016.
Mm-hmm. It was the place that the Brews Travelers Outcast podcast crew met up and decided to do a show. So it kind of birthed a lot of friendships, a lot of external conversations with other brewers, other people in the industry. And I don't know, it's a shame that they are no longer here, but Gnome finally got the chance to sit down with Jason and just discuss kind of what happens when a brewery closes, or at least Jason's experience with that. They guerrilla style recorded. They showed up at a brewery and just set up their shit, which is kind of what we do. I mean, we didn't necessarily ask anyone if we could just record there. We just were like, there's an open table. Let's just see if they kick us out. So I can understand.
When we go to breweries?
The 1-2 times ish. That we do that.
That's our truth, I guess.
That's our truth. Hey, we break the rules, and you can just deal with it. Or we say we break the rules, and you say
we break the rules.
We do whatever.
Maybe emails were sent in advance. Who knows?
We try to be considerate. Surprise guests. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Moving on.
Kind of like I said before, it was kind of weird at first listening because a lot of the conversation started with what was the original vision for the brewery? Where did you guys want to go? What did you want to do? How did you decide that you wanted to be more of a nano brewery versus like a larger brewery, a larger tap room? Which, as we know from plenty of these episodes, money tends to be the driving factor for how big of a place you can open.
A lot of decisions. Yeah, a lot of decisions.
And then some of the things that I didn't know about, some of the other plans for that building that they were in, that Jason and some of the other co-owners wanted to do with the space that just never ended up happening. They talked about what went wrong. What happened that led to Queen City Brewing closing their doors. And like I said, it was kind of bittersweet to listen to because it's sad that they closed, but the perspective it gave Jason about just kind of life as a whole or his career path as a whole, all of that was inspiring enough and uplifting. It wasn't like a complete downer of an episode, but it was, I don't know, it was weird to listen to. That's kind of the best descriptor that I have for it.
I think it was good too that when something like that happens, you want to get the information firsthand as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. And I think that now, albeit 3 years later, maybe it could have been 2 years, maybe it could have been a year and a half, but nonetheless, that distance probably, as you said, gave a lot of insight and perspective, and he was able to talk about it in a way where it wasn't so new and fresh, and maybe, quite possibly and I'm not going to speak for him, but quite possibly could have been, a very strange, awkward, weird, or jaded conversation. It was
the answers could have been different.
Yeah, the answers could have been different. Absolutely. So I think the benefit of the time and the distance from that helped, because I think many times somebody says, just to use another format, right? So a sports figure does something that's not socially great.
Sure.
And they come out immediately and they do the apology tour. But then when they're retired 2, 3 years later, 5 years later, they talk about it in a different way. We didn't need that necessarily, that initial sort of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Although he did put out a Facebook post initially.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they weren't, and
they weren't interviewed right after.
Well, and also they didn't do what some other places, not that there have been a ton of closings in the area, which I'm very grateful for, but there have been a few places, and some places were more forthcoming with information about, hey, this is happening, or kind of a surprise, we had to close our doors, but we're letting you know ASAP, versus, not really saying much and no one really knows what's going on. So I am glad that they did let people know kind of right away. And that's all that I ever really asked for. I know that we talked in the past about, another place to where I said that I know and I understand that I'm not owed an explanation for anything.
Right.
But at the same time, as a consumer, as a fan, as a patron of an establishment, part of me does have that selfish, I kind of feel like I should have gotten something. I don't need the whole story. I don't need all the details. I don't need, the back office gossip about what's going on. But at least just say, hey, we appreciated you being here, and, we're sorry, but we're going to have to do X, Y, or Z. Not what Queen City did. Like you said, they put out a post. They let people know. And I feel like that's kind of a common courtesy that I really appreciate. But on that flip side, I can't begin to imagine how hard that kind of a post or that kind of a statement is to make. And they don't owe, and I'm using me in kind of the global terms, they don't owe me any explanation, anything at all. So it is that weird balance that he did talk about a bit in this, in the interview, why we, what we wanted to let people know, and we just didn't want to leave people hanging and wondering what if or why.
We're going to try very hard to make our recap of this podcast not as long as the podcast.
True that. I think we're going to do okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do okay. They had a neat part of the conversation where they talked about, and again, it was weird hearing them talk about the tap room and what they would have done with it or what they could have changed when it's not a thing anymore. But they talked about how whenever you add something to your space, it does end up changing the personality of that space, be it adding spirits or being it, adding seltzers or ciders or non-alcoholic offerings or whatever. Whenever you want to cater to your customers as much as possible, but at the same time, how much do you do before that starts to change who you are, what your space feels like? And that was pretty cool. I really liked that insight to something that happens all the time with breweries all over Cincinnati. And I don't know, maybe that kind of morphosis into like a different personality, a different type of space is slow enough that you don't really pick up on it half the time. It doesn't, hit you over the head with, an exercise bat or something like that.
It's a good conversation. And I think sometimes it can be where the public can almost sense where a brewery, a business organization is just starting to like grasp at straws, right? You start to see social media posts about coming out and supporting. You start to see social media posts about buying gift cards. You start to see, pleas about, life's dream and the amount that they put into it. And,
sure.
You might see all of a sudden, like, just that old expression where it's like you just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
You know, rather than everything seeming like a very calculated, precise, well thought out move.
Right. The cracks are starting to show in the foundation, and well, what do we spackle it with? What can we try to fill that with?
Right. And I'm not saying any of those things about Queen City Brewing, but to bring it back to the point that you were discussing, that he was discussing, you decide that you are going to be the type of place that you want to be, and then all of a sudden you might feel or see how things start to very quickly start to change, and then the next thing you know, it's like, hey, we've got to say goodbye. Whereas I think if you took all of those ideas that you thought were going to work at the very end and you couldn't do them, you didn't have enough runway to let them work, well, then you should have decided that at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, you should have.
But sometimes you don't know. You know, sometimes you're like, what we have to start off with is fantastic and it's great, and it is. And then as the times change, as kind of culture, you know, beer culture changes, as trends come in and out, you start going, well, I don't know, maybe we could do this because we're seeing people go this direction where we're staying true to ourselves and staying the opposite direction. Well, do we need to shift even slightly? Do we need to try to do something that these other places are just to bring people in? But then that all ties back into whenever you do that, your brand, your space, your personality starts to change slightly, and it sounded like they just weren't willing to. I say weren't willing. They wanted to stay true to who they were, and I don't know if that was the nail in the coffin, or it didn't sound like it was at all. But I don't know. I just think that, I don't know. I like you say, I don't want to put any words in anyone's mouths about it. It was a really good discussion. It was. And it ended up being much, like I said at the beginning, much less of a kind of weird, hey, let's dissect, this, the dissolving of this thing that you and the people you work with put your heart and souls into, and more into that introspective reflection. And, if I ever did it again, and, he did discuss if he would ever do it again, and what strengths that Jason felt that Queen City had that would absolutely translate into the next thing, should there be a next thing.
Yeah. And so I think that's one thing that I want anybody listening to us to take away, is that when you go and listen, yes, it's an account of, from the brewer's perspective, one of the owner's perspectives of how they got to be open, what happened while they were open, and then when they closed. But there is a little bit, it seems like a little more than a spark.
Oh, absolutely.
It seems like
absolutely.
There's conversations that are happening that even Jason and his wife are talking about. You know what? It looks like a leap is going to be taken.
I hope so. A couple other notes that I had on this episode. The Gnome asked Jason, what is the Cincinnati craft beer community missing still? Or, what are they missing? What is just no longer present that used to be in the forefront? And, Jason said he wants the milkshake IPA craze to come back. He was pretty strong on that. That's not something that I remember Queen City Brewing having many. I feel bad. I only was able to make it there once, but I don't recall them having any milkshake IPAs. But he said that is definitely something. I don't recall either. I've
been there a few times. I don't recall milkshake IPAs, but that's one big thing with him.
They also talked about if Jason ever brews again, either homebrew or commercially, the name of his first, I guess, I wouldn't say the first, the name of his next beer, which I don't think is something you would be able to drink based on the name alone.
Probably not.
Lactic Smacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just smacked into the mic on that one, so fitting. Let's see.
Too much lactose.
I inhaled some
The
lactose there.
getting
Yeah,
you?
it got me. It got me. And let's see, 2 other notes that I had here. Apparently, being 50 or even close to age 50
Old.
is absolutely ancient.
Ancient.
To Gnome and Jason. It's like,
Ancient.
come on. Really?
Yeah.
We're going to resemble those remarks one day.
I am
Sooner rather
not
than later.
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ancient.
And the last note that I have, which we'll see if this is your last note as well, because as we know, our notes are exactly
Our notes
the
are
same.
usually the same. Yeah.
The main takeaway of this episode is don't listen to anyone and just be who you are.
Yep. That's how they pretty much wrap it up.
And it was a great conversation about that, both of them talking about parenthood and all that.
Yep.
So, yeah, don't listen to anyone. Be who you are.
Yep.
I like it.
I mean,
It ended
there
up
are
being
some
such a great-
limitations,
well,
right? And they
well-
cover some of those things,
Well,
right?
right,
No,
yeah,
it's very
yeah.
upfront about, the talking to his child and saying you can be whatever you want to be, or being told you can do whatever you want to do. And he's like, well, I can't be a fighter pilot. I wear,
I wear
glasses.
glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just some things.
And you're never
are
going to be a cheese connoisseur because your body will kill
lactose
you.
intolerant. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Man.
So,
It started off as kind of, I went into it I went into listening to this episode with a bit of hesitation because, again, I didn't know what the vibe of the episode was going to be. It's not what you think it's going to be. It is a great listen, so definitely be sure to check this out, get some insight on, just at least from one particular, owner, former owner, however you want to kind of wrap that around, on how one particular dream can go from start to close. And I liked it. I appreciated it.
I did as well. It was a good conversation.
Anything else on the Cincinnati Brewcast?
Cincinnati Brewcast. Okay, we'll
Cheers.
say that. We cheers.
Let's do this.
You go ahead, Julia. Put the lactose in there to help
Yes,
with the
to
cough.
help clear the... Yeah, so great, so great. Well,
This lactose-free drink that I'm drinking,
yeah.
delicious.
But you know what? If you get a dry spot in your throat, there's no lactose to help
Yeah, I know.
wash it away.
Yeah, I know,
so
it's
we
fine.
got to hope.
Yeah, I'll just deal with it.
Yeah, all right. Like a man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break so you can get another beer, and then we're going to talk about the Chris and Josh show. We'll be right back. We have made it
Back.
All right, and we have one more podcast to cover. If we are good, this may be a reasonably timed episode. It may not be 5 hours for 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
All right.
We tried.
Let's, do we though?
No.
No. We have fun.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yep.
Shift Beers episode 113. This is Chris and Josh. I tried to get the timing right. Hopefully they appreciate it. If you couldn't hear that, that was Team Rocket. Chris and Josh are blasting off again. This was a 2-man circus show.
Yeah.
Just Chris and Josh. And holy shit. It was exactly what you would expect.
Yes, it was.
From the two of them.
Yes, it was.
It's one of those, where do you even begin with this episode? It was fun. It was so much fun to listen to. It was also super long
Yeah.
to listen to, which we'll kind of cover near the end of the recap, exactly how long it is compared to some of their other episodes. Yes, I went back and looked. They had some drunk line calls.
Yes.
One of which included a birthday wish for Josh, which was super awesome.
Yes.
They weren't entirely sure who it was. And then Josh called the drunk line himself.
Yes.
Can you call your own drunk line?
Absolutely.
Okay, as long as you're drunk enough?
He did it.
He did. He absolutely did.
Can you do it? Yeah, he did it.
It was more of a rhetorical question and not like, are you actually capable of doing
rhetorical.
it? It was more of a, when it's your thing that you want other people to participate in, do you do it yourself? Which it's fine.
It's like if you're a brewer and you go in and check in and rate your own beers.
Right. Like, do you, like...
I never did that, by the way.
But you could. It's not. There's nothing saying you can't.
Oh, who gave this a 5?
It
was me.
The brewer. I think my beer's phenomenal. So
Right.
it's kind of like, man, we had the best drunk line call of all time. This was the absolute best, and I'm gonna let you finish, Marco, with your call. But I'm telling you, this drunk line call was absolutely phenomenal. It's me. And you're like,
Yeah.
what?
It's him.
Really?
Yeah, you had the best one. That's fine.
Yeah, you had the best one. Yeah, there you go. One of the weird things that random thought that popped into my head while I was listening to this episode that I actually wrote down in the side of my notebook. Josh talked a little bit about NASCAR in in part of his drinking segment, which was 25 minutes long, by the way.
Yeah.
Timed it.
2 people.
I wonder if Josh senses mean nothing. You listen, you watch, you whatever, I don't know. Does Josh watch the Drive to Survive series on Netflix?
I don't know. He strikes me more of a NASCAR guy than a Formula One guy.
But question still remains.
Yeah.
Does he watch? Josh, let me know. At us at Truth Beer Pod.
Yeah,
or email us.
Or complain about us
or show up here one Tuesday and let's all have a drink together. All right, let's see. What else? Before they got too into the weeds, they talked about the new Sam Adams Boston Lager and the new Fat Tire. Not a ton, but just how they really wish that they could have compared the two.
Yeah.
Which I think you can probably still find the
old Boston Lager.
Yeah.
Well, there's like 6 of them.
I know. I'm
here.
looking at them right there. And the old Fat Tire. They're always talking about how like at certain places that they buy their beer, the beer is super old and like dusty, and they don't swap it out. I mean, I'm sure you can find some original Fat Tire there. Might not be the best, however, for comparison's sake.
Right.
Might not be the best, but it's probably there if you look. I don't even know what to say about Josh's drinking segment, other than you just have to listen. It was his birthday shenanigans.
It was, the birthday shenanigan to drinking.
It was holy crap. Although, because of that, I do think we may have a new Shift Beer segment that's going to start to repeat, hopefully. The What Grinds Josh's Gears segment.
Ah, yes, the Grinds His Gears segment.
Yes, because there are a lot of things that once he gets on a roll, that grind his gears.
Yep.
Yes, including domain names and websites and
Spectrum.
NASCAR and Spectrum and good freaking Lord. It could be its own show in and of itself, really.
Yeah.
You know, like 20 minutes of Josh.
He wants to do another podcast. He could do another podcast.
He could. He could.
What Grinds My Gears.
Yep. And you know what he should do? He should end the What Grinds His Gears with a Twisted Tea tip. And you know what I do to kind of wind, what's something you can do to wind down from having your gears ground day in and day out?
That's right.
Here's my Twisted Tea tip. Do or don't do this specific thing. You never know. Could be good.
You never know.
Thank you. Then it switched over to Chris and his drinking. 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it. Most of it was about him getting super fancy with martinis.
Yeah.
Which Josh disagreed with. But, he was putting on the Ritz a little bit.
Yeah.
It seemed like.
You ever had one of those?
I have not.
We're going to tell the audience what it is or no?
Sure. Go. I mean,
just a dirty martini.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not.
I have not either. I'm not an olive person, and I know that I'm sure it doesn't taste like olives, but...
No.
Don't look at me like that. It's like, right, but yeah.
I mean, vodka, by definition, you look it up, it's an odorless, tasteless spirit. Uh-oh.
No, I love watching people do U-turns here because, man, they just get so close.
Oh, yeah.
To the cars on the opposite
side. So it's the olive juice. The juice that, gives it the flavor. Gives it the dirty.
It's got the juice.
It's got the juice.
Oh, God. Let's see. And they were right. It is Verge Brewing that is hopefully coming to the west side. They were dead set that, no, that's not the name of the brewery. It is. They did great. Josh was right. It sounds weird to say. Josh was right. Huh.
Holy shit. Josh was right?
Yeah.
Josh was right.
Now that I say that out loud, oh, my God. I wish I would. Yeah, I wish I had a better sound effect for that other than, you. No, you sounded beautiful. Me saying that sounded really...
Some people did complain a little bit about some of the things that I do.
Yeah.
Or some of the friends that I have.
But I realized when I said that it sounded really insulting, and I meant it as a joke and not as anything.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Fine. As long as we're good.
Yeah.
The main topic, mix packs. They both house like 5 mix packs during this episode. Oh God, I hope everyone was safe and good. And
well, I've seen them all after.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So
I've seen them since.
They're still alive, mostly.
And I say all. I've seen both of them since.
Both of them, yes. Let's see, the 2 mix packs that they had were the Toppling Goliath and the Voodoo Brewing mix pack, which was it the Hoodoo that they're like, oh, this IP is just not good. It's not very great.
It was
because that was on tap.
It was the one on tap here,
right? And that's what I was saying. I'm like, well, I had that here.
It was the
fresh,
Voodoo.
Yeah.
Well, it was Hoodoo, right?
Yeah, Hoodoo by
Voodoo.
Yes, not confusing at all. Fresh on draft, absolutely delicious.
It was good.
I really enjoyed it. So, I again trying to like keep everything straight with all of their.
That was the Gusher, wasn't it?
No, that was the brown ale, which is
that sounds terrible.
Disgustingly fitting for that.
We want to crack open a Gusher, a brown ale.
Yeah. Those led to interesting conversations because they were looking for dates on the mix packs, like when was this canned, or like the individual, beers.
What a pain in the ass!
Oh
Every can in that pack could be dated, but they don't date the pack.
Right. Well, because it sounded like some of the cans had different dates on them. Like this one was, you know what I mean?
They
so
do.
It's like, so what would a brewery do? Do they pick the earliest can date so that the oldest? It's listed as being the oldest according to the oldest beer in the pack, or do they try to do a best by date and hope for the best with however old the actual beers within the pack are if they weren't all canned on the same date?
If it's a mix pack,
yeah,
I would think that somebody would need to. I mean, I get everybody goes up to grab their pack of beer, right? And you assume all those beers were canned on the same day.
Sure, which isn't always the case, right?
May not always be the case. Like for small breweries, obviously, that's probably the case.
It's probably a one run, yeah.
Probably one run, probably do that. But for all these variety packs, I mean, you got to think there's different days on them.
Right.
Even if it's different by one day each.
Sure, right.
You got to think there's different days.
Right, absolutely.
So I don't love the best by date. Mm-hmm. Still there. Again, same problem you have by putting on, say, the oldest date in the pack. Right. You may have 3 other beers that are
each a month apart.
Each a month apart. But at least give us something to go by.
Right. Yeah. So would you have a preference of mix packs for the exact reasons you just spelled out? Would you rather have the date on a mix pack where 4 beers, each of those beers could have been canned in completely separate months out of the year, hopefully fairly close together, but would you prefer to have a best by date or to see the date of the oldest beer in that pack? Like, is there one that
I'd rather see the date of the
personally-
oldest beer in the pack.
I think I would too.
Because a best by date, I mean, you got to think you're just working backwards by 6.
True.
Right, because most of them are going to have a 6-month best by date.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that's fair.
If you put a best by on there of December, then you got to figure it was packaged around June.
Yeah. Kind of on that same topic of best by dates, another thing that another of the rancid rabbit holes that they went down is who should eat the cost of an out of code beer when it's past that freshness date, that expiration date. Should that be the brewery? Should it be the bottle shop or the store? Should it be the distributor that brought it in? Like, how should that? Where should that cost recuperation? I don't know if that's correct at all, but where should that come from? And I'm not necessarily asking, but just kind of throwing it out as they talked about it. So, and I don't know. Part of me thinks that. And I'm not going to spoil it for people that want to listen to the episode, but I think that their idea on how that should be kind of reshuffled makes sense. But if it's already out of code, well, I mean, why pass a shelf turd on to someone else, regardless of if that other place is going to sell it, if it's already out of code?
The way I understood the way they were talking about it was not to take out of code beer and send it to some place that would sell it. It's to go back to a place that it's not moving as well and to shuffle it before it's out of code.
Gotcha. Okay, so when I was listening, I was interpreting it. My thought process was different than yours. Okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
So someplace bought something, let's say 10 cases deep of something.
Sure.
Rep goes around 3 weeks later. They have 9 cases still of that. Mm-hmm. They should probably think about taking 5, 6, 7 of those cases and shuffling them someplace else where they already sold through their initial shipment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know the legalities on taking alcohol that's paid for and essentially housed at a location
and moving it to another
and then
location.
taking it back. I'm sure you absolutely have to put it in your possession as a distributor, right?
Right.
But I don't know the legality in selling that to somebody else.
Right.
Now, it's not making money twice because you would give the establishment that bought it first a credit for that product.
Right.
So you're not getting paid twice for it.
Right.
But I don't know the
still,
legalities of that.
Yeah. If any of you do, let us know because that'd be kind of interesting to know. I'm Michael from Medina.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Should have him on the show soon.
We really should. We really need to circle back and have several people on the show because, man, I like having people on the show. It's fun. CD players and vehicles.
Yeah.
I think your car's newer year-wise than mine is. Mine's a 2013. Yours is...
I think it's a 2020.
Okay. Does it have a CD player?
2021. No.
Okay.
No.
Don't look at me like that.
I didn't even bring that jerk over here and say that.
Is he here? I'm afraid to look over to my left because I'm afraid he's going to see me looking and then he's going to come over here and talk into our mic.
He's not, but I think somebody else is here.
Okay, so my 2013 vehicle does have a CD player. Your 2019, 2020, 2021, something you don't know? No, it doesn't. Newer does not.
It does not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No.
But, okay.
Yeah, it does not.
All right.
Now, I didn't go and have a wish list of features that I wanted it to have.
Your wish list was it runs.
Yeah, new runs fits in this monthly price range, which I did not give them up front.
Good.
When I went to buy the car, I did not say, "Yeah, I'm good to spend this on." It's like, no, I only. Anyways, Let me
look at some things and see what I like.
This is not the truth beer and car buying pod. But anyways,
it could be.
But no, it doesn't have that.
Okay. So people let us know. Add us at social media. What year is your car, and does it have a CD player or not? Because I'm kind of curious because I feel like
I think my wife's car is a 2018, and I don't think it has a CD player.
Okay.
We could call Rachel and ask her.
Yeah, we could.
No, let's not.
Not gonna do that.
Well, I mean,
it would be the same trope as
yeah.
It'd be funny, but it'd be funny to us. Would Rachel find it as amusing?
Probably not.
Did you make her listen to Shift Beers? No. Okay. Just checking. Never know.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't listen. She doesn't listen to Shift Beers.
Okay.
That I'm aware of.
That's fair. Okay. Maybe she does. Maybe she's secretly one of their Patreon subscribers.
Could be.
You never know.
You never know.
Thank you. They made multiple phone calls once they were like 7 or 8 mix packs deep.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. That was... I mean, you already know about one of them. And I'm saying you as in the listeners. You guys already know about one because our last episode came out before their most recent episode.
Right.
But holy cow, that was so much fun.
Those were fun.
Those were a lot of fun. An absolute blast to listen to. We actually I only have a couple more notes on this episode. We're doing good. For a 2-podcast recap show, we're doing great. The last 36 minutes of the episode, absolutely amazing. Everything that you would expect from the Josh and Chris show and more. Is the location they recorded at haunted?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think it could be.
I can tell you
Yeah?
but I won't spoil it.
Oh, okay. Maybe that'll be part of our post-production meeting.
Possibly.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Or just leave me in the dark, and I'll have to find out for myself one day.
Okay.
All right. Was this the longest Shift Beers episode ever?
I know the answer,
Yes.
but I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to let you tell. If you want to tell, I'll let you tell.
I think. Okay, I'm gonna give, and again, this is gonna be like the dumbest multiple choice question in the world because anyone can just look this up. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna give 3 of the longest Shift Beers episodes that they had, and people can just either look it up to see which one's the longest, or just go, "Oh wow, really? That one?
Okay.
That was one of their." You know what I mean?
Since this is in print, then they can actually look it up.
Yeah, you just scroll through your
There will not be.
podcast feed and see
I will not bring the D.
runtime.
You can just go A, B, and C.
NBC. I'm going to leave that comment where it lies. All right, so out of the 3 longest...
the D is.
Jesus Christ. Out of the 3 longest Shift Beers episodes ever, was the longest episode, this episode, episode 113, Chris and Josh are blasting off again. Was it episode 75 with the Craft Parenting Podcast, or was it episode 48 where they recorded live at BC's Montgomery? The answer may surprise you.
They recorded live at BC's.
I don't think they did like a live show, but the episode was titled Live at BC's. So I think that's when they recorded there with Brian and Kenny and...
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I remember that one.
Holy crap. Yeah, of course you remember it.
There were like
you tried
7
not
guests
to.
or something
Oh my
like
God,
that
there were
or
like
something.
13. Yeah. Yeah, you try to forget that episode, but then you're reminded of it because I brought it up and you're like, oh God, that one.
Yeah.
Well, last thing we have
R.I.P.
for this
BC
episode.
Montgomery.
Yeah. It was a good place.
I ran into Brian this weekend.
Yeah, how's he doing?
Oh, he's doing all right.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. Do we want to go over the burp count?
Well, of course we do.
Yeah. All right. So for...
Of course we do.
For the,
However,
yes.
somebody here. Somebody here has a little bit.
Oh no.
Somebody here has an issue.
Come on, we do this every week. Why do you have an issue now?
What? Somebody has an issue.
No.
Well, so it got back to them because they listened.
Come on, fine.
They listened.
Fine. We do tend to say if you want to say something, we'll put a microphone in front of you. So go ahead.
Hello.
Oh,
This is Morgan Freeman. I listen to Shift Beers talk and slam my buddy Marco over the way that he does impersonate my very own voice. And they played a professional, somebody who's paid to sound just like me.
that guy was paid?
But he's 1099, so.
Okay.
But Marco doesn't even make an income at his podcast. He's put more money into this podcast than the U.S. put in to put up and take down a wall. So get off of it, Shift Beers. Catch these hens.
Oh Jesus! I'm dying. I need more lactose. I'm gonna die. Oh my God.
Thanks, Morgan.
Wow.
Jesus. I didn't know. Like he came out. Look behind the column
like,
right here. He's like,
I didn't even think he could fit
just
back
like,
there. No one can fit well.
No.
No.
At first, he pitched me an idea where he just wanted to, like, talk song lyrics. I'm like, get out of here with that shit. We're trying to make it a short episode today.
No.
And he's like, well, can I do? And I was like, can
No,
you?
you can't do anything.
No.
You can't do anything.
So can I? No.
Well, but then he said he had an issue with the episode that we just recapped. So we're like, fine, it fits.
Yeah,
it
does
fits
fit.
at the recap.
It did fit. Thanks, Morgan.
Jackass.
We're going to bring you back, though, for the Utopia stuff, all right?
Yeah, we need you for that. Maybe this is the year we get some Utopias. Come on. Oh.
Good luck. Okay. Thanks for the help, buddy.
All right. Swear to God.
And then they
I
talked
say
about
go back to
Pokemon and shit.
Ziwantaneo or something. Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Pokemon.
Anyway.
And they were
Pokemon.
drunk talking about Pokemon.
Oh my God, it was incredible. Seriously.
And it's to kill you. It's like, no,
Yes.
it doesn't kill you. It just
It just
stuns
faints.
You. It just faints. I'm like, first of all,
I mean, who doesn't know this stuff already? Come on.
I don't know any of this because I am an adult, damn it.
So,
And I was an adult when Pokemon started.
probably not wrong.
So, nah.
Dude, cheers to all of us ancient people.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, ancient. some lactose. You all right?
Oh, my God. Almost had to replace the cover on the mic.
All right.
All right, the burp count for this episode, because for fuck's sake, we're almost at
Let's
an
go.
hour, and
Let's
I don't know
go.
how we do this. In this episode of Shift Beers, episode 113, Chris and Josh are blasting off again. 2 people, 37 hours of content, 59 burps, which is 118 ounces of your favorite liquid, which is 7.375 pints. So
Okay.
not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
I mean,
for
just 2 people.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a little bit longer of a time frame, but
Jesus, did you
still,
ever?
I mean, pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Not bad at all.
Congrats to you too.
Marco, is there anything else before we wrap this episode up?
Well,
Don't.
you just closed
No.
our notes,
Oh, yeah, I did.
so I think they think
think we're
that's it.
good?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
You were worried that Frank was going to come out here.
No,
weren't you?
I was worried about the other guy when I said, do you have anything else?
Oh,
Which I haven't seen him yet.
yeah.
Hopefully it's
Yeah, the other one.
way. The
Yeah,
other guy.
the other one.
Well, if you made it this far into this episode that we thought was going to be a shorter episode, but then you went, I know these 2 jackasses, it's not going to be a short episode.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate your listenership, as Marcus said in the beginning of the episode. If you would like to show us how much you appreciate what we do, the content that we make, first and foremost, listen to all these other podcasts that we talk about, because without them making content, we don't have any content to talk about. We'll have to come up with
That's
a whole
right.
new idea for the podcast, and we ain't got time for that.
No.
Or you can do things like, subscribe, review, share, follow, give us 5 stars, give us reviews on all the podcasting platforms, tell your friends, your dog walker, your parole officer, and tell everyone about our show. Follow us on social media. We are at Truth Beer Pod everywhere. Send us an email, truthbeerpod@gmail.com. Go to our website, which is, believe it or not, truthbeerpod.com. And
We own that?
we own that one.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, good.
Yes. Or
Good.
I don't know if you technically own them or if you just rent them for periods of time, since you have to pay yearly to renew them.
Okay.
So I guess we're just renting the domain name. Whatever. Go to it. It will have links to all of our social media pages, and also it'll have a link to give a one-time donation if you want to throw a couple dollars our way to help us pay off the cost of some of this equipment and to keep trying to do more fun stuff for you guys. Buy us a beer, buy us 2 beers, or become a Patreon subscriber and get access to some maybe fun, maybe not fun content. Who knows?
Yeah.
The choice is yours. All those links are at truthbeerpod.com. But other than that, I got nothing else.
All right. Well, if that's it, then that's it.
That is it. So, Marco, what are you going to be doing next Tuesday?
So this week I'm going to listen to all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts. I'm going to get together here. That's the plan so far.
So far, so
here at Summit Park, Higher Gravity, and we're going to recap those for you.
Sounds great. I'll be here with you.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
No.